Hey, this is your girl Rihanna.
24/7 Fresh FM.
Today's Fresh Music. Welcome back to another edition of Fresh Perspective here on 94.7 Fresh FM. I'm your host, Jen Richer, and we've got a great show lined up for you today. First, we're going to be joined by, but before we get started, I need to let you know that the comments and opinions expressed during this show are not necessarily the views of its host or 94.7 Fresh FM. I'm so excited about this show, Sucker Punch. It's happening at the Studio Theater. It's getting amazing reviews right now. It's the story of two teenagers who are training for a boxing championship. The show is going on now through April 8th, and we're joined here by the stars, Sheldon Best and Emmanuel Brown. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. Tell us a little bit more about the story.
It's about two British men of Jamaican descent who break into this gym, and instead of calling the police, the owner decides he's going to make us do chores around the place, and he ends up training us, and dramatics ensue from there, and lots of boxing, and it's a very entertaining show.
And it's set among the race riots in England in the 80s. So the outside world of the play really affects the world inside this gym and the relationships between the characters and how these two youngsters who grew up best friends kind of get torn apart because of what's going on in the country at the time under Margaret Thatcher's 1980s London. So it's fascinating and brilliant and exhilarating, and it's awesome.
Now, are you guys from here originally? Are you local?
No, I'm originally from Florida, but we both have been working out of New York he's from New York.
I'm from New York.
All right, we imported you for the show. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
what is it like playing an English character, though? I mean, you're having to go not only studying the history of what's happening, but you're playing a whole different nationality. What's that like?
Yeah, well, it's a lot of fun because you get to work with a different dialect. You get to really delve into a new accent and a new culture. And so that's always fun to do, even the research and watching movies, and my half my family's from Jamaica, so really getting to really just live in that kind of culture and do that and tell this story every day is really, really fun.
Playing boxers, did you have to do any training for this, or did you just walk on stage and rock it?
Well, we had to do boxing training, and we basically decided to make sure that we looked a little bit more like professional boxers than we did when we first started rehearsing the show. So we've been working out a bit more, changing the way we eat, how much we eat of certain things, and doing lots of boxing. We went through a pretty intense 2 weeks before we came to D.C., just working with our boxing trainer, Gary the Kid Stark Jr., and our fight choreographers, Rick Sordelay and Christian Kelly Sordelay. And we basically went to work. So we look like we're in shape now. Thank you, by the way.
I mean, you look very, very fit. Don't get me wrong. But
Well,
it's a result of hard work.
People who come see the show will get to see a lot of that because, as it is a boxing play set in the 80s, you're wearing boxing shorts that are 80s appropriate, which means lots of legs. And there are it's set in a gym, so the true world of a gym where you're changing and you're doing fights with just the shorts on and no shirt. It's really true to the world, and so it's got this great sense of the gritty world in this gym, and the very elaborate. Once the fights get bigger and bigger, and there's more money at stake, the bigger and bigger fights, and how all the lights and sounds and everything. It's really.
You can smell the testosterone off the stage.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Little something for the ladies.
Yeah. Oh, definitely,
yes.
definitely.
There's plenty for the ladies.
There's plenty. There's plenty.
Now, do you get a reaction from the woman because you are wearing some short shorts and looking like you are?
I will say that there has been reactions from audiences. There have been. There was one audience that actually they started clapping. In a scene where I changed from one outfit to another.
It's gotta be flattering, right?
So that was very nice.
Anyone come up to you after the show?
Yes, they've been very complimentary after the show as well.
Didn't even hesitate. So what is hard? I mean, obviously you're acting on stage, but you're also doing these choreographed fights. What's harder, the boxing or the acting?
I feel personally that each is harder in its own way. Think of it in the sense that the acting part where we have to actually speak and things like that, that's difficult because, well, we have the dialect that we have to nail, and we want to, definitely bring the emotion of the characters. But at the same time, when we're boxing, we don't get to express ourselves through words. So we don't actually have that sort of, I guess, crutch. So we have to basically use our faces and our bodies to put out the emotion that our words don't get to use, or that we don't get to relay through our words.
I mean, now that you've played boxers, what do you think the biggest misconception of the sport is? seeing it through their eyes?
I think that now, having played a boxer, and I mean, it's not the same as being a boxer, I'll say that outright. But in doing the fights and in doing the training, there's so much grace to the sport that I didn't have as much of an appreciation for beforehand. That now I really do.
So you betting differently in Vegas now? Now that you know what the hook is?
Yeah.
And what are you walking away, having done this show, what are you walking away with that you've learned?
Oh, my goodness. I wouldn't even know where to begin to answer that
Yeah,
question because
yeah.
it's been one of the most gratifying and challenging experiences that I've ever had as an actor, where I've been challenged in every way. So I don't even know how to begin to answer that question. And I think people who see the show will understand why I can't answer that question because it's just, you walk away with so much.
Yeah.
So it's changed you as an actor?
Absolutely.
As a person.
And as a person. Yeah.
Really?
If only because we now know more about the race riots in England because both of us were too young to know about it in any capacity when they were going on. So we learned more about life in England and how it's really not that much different from life here.
For someone who's thinking about, grabbing the tickets right now, what would you say to them?
Do it. Why are you listening to us still talking? Just get to the studiotheater.org, studio, THEATRE, like the British way of spelling it, .org, or call the box office at 202-332-3300 and get your tickets because I don't know why you're waiting.
Perfect. And we'll have all that information on our website, too. So if you didn't get a chance to write it down, we'll have it all on 947freshfm.com. Plus, a picture of the two of you and a copy of this interview if you want to download it and pass it around before you buy tickets.
Very nice.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We'll see you
Thank
down
you
at
very much.
Studio Theater.
Yeah.
Stick around.